Today on Inquirer, death toll from widespread rain since January 2 rises to 35. Another low-pressure area in Mindanao being monitored. Defense Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. says he is now recommending the removal of fixed terms among AFP personnel. And big-time fuel price hike, gasoline and diesel to increase nearly 3 pesos per liter starting tomorrow. The Philippine and Chinese governments have yet to reach a compromise regarding the West Philippine Sea. Despite this, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. says the Philippine government will continue with its protests following recent reports of a China Coast Guard vessel driving away a Filipino fishing boat while in the waters of Ayungin Shoal. In an interview, Marcos said the Philippine government immediately contacted the Chinese government with hopes that their counterpart would bring to Chinese President Xi Jinping's attention the recent incident in Ayungin Shoal. Marcos said the Philippines will continue with its protests by sending note verbals to China. According to the Philippine Coast Guard, the Chinese Coast Guard personnel allegedly gestured to the Filipino fishermen on January 9 to leave the area of Ayungin Shoal, coupled with verbal warnings in Chinese using a megaphone while waving a Chinese flag. The Philippine Coast Guard is now investigating the incident. The incident happened only days after the Philippines and China supposedly reached an agreement in which China would allow Filipinos to return to their own fishing grounds in the West Philippine Sea. Following his visit to China in early January, Marcos said she, quote, promised that we would find a compromise and find a solution that will be beneficial so our fishermen might be able to fish again in their natural fishing ground.
We can even immediately contact the Chinese government, and hopefully though our counterparts on the other side can bring to President Xi's attention this problem, and we have done that. But that does not preclude us from continuing to make protests and continuing to send note verbals concerning this. But this is a long process because it is something new. I just hope we can come to some kind of arrangement because I cannot see the utility for the Chinese of doing that. These fishing boats are not armed, they don't pose a threat to anyone. So I think it is something that we can achieve in the near term.
The widespread rains brought about by low-pressure areas and other weather systems since the beginning of the year have left 35 people dead, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. To give us an update, here's Zacarian Sarao reporting live. Zach?
Yes, Neil, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or the NDRRMC, recorded 35 additional deaths due to the widespread rains caused by low-pressure areas and other weather systems since January 2. Based on the NDRRMC's latest data, most of the recorded deaths were from the region of Zamboanga Peninsula, which totaled 12, while 8 deaths were recorded in northern Mindanao, 7 in eastern Visayas, and 6 in Bicol region. Meanwhile, Davao region and South Surgeon also tallied 1 death each. 19 other deaths, on the other hand, are still up for verification, said the NDRRMC. Apart from deaths, 12 total injuries were also recorded, along with 7 missing. Damage to agriculture was pegged at 751.9 million pesos, while destruction to infrastructure was estimated to cost around 276.7 million pesos. To recall, the State Weather Bureau has reported several widespread rain-inducing low-pressure areas entering the Philippine Area of Responsibility since the beginning of January. Together with this, the shear line in the northeast monsoon, locally known as Amihan, consistently affected other parts of the country. Back to you, Neil.
That's Zacarian Sarao. The State Weather Bureau is currently monitoring a low-pressure area bringing rains in parts of Mindanao. To give us an update, joining us today is Pag-asa weather forecaster Ezra Bolkerin. Sir Ezra?
Yes po, magandang gabi sa inyo at sa lahat ng nanonood. As of now, yung low pressure area na monitor natin 285 kilometers away southeast ng Davao City. And itong low pressure area na to, yung extension or yung trough, nagdadala ng makulimlim na panahon na may kalat-kalat na mga pag-ulan at pagkilat-pagkulog dyan sa areas ng Palawan, Romblon, Bicol Region, yung buong Visayas at Mindanao. So expect pa rin natin na patuloy silang makakaranas ng mga pag-ulan dyan dala ng low pressure area. Samantala, yung amihan o yung northeast monsoon, nagdadala ito ng maulap na kalangitan na may mga pag-ulan dyan sa area ng Luzon and Visayas area, especially sa may Batanes, Cagayan, Apayao at Ilocos Norte. And then dito sa Metro Manila at yung nalalabing bahagi ng ating Luzon area, fair weather condition pa rin, may mga isolated rains nga lang na mararanasan, pero in general, maganda yung panahon natin dito.
Sir Ezra, ano yung abiso natin sa mga kababayan natin na maapektuhan nitong pag-ulan dala nitong LPA? Inaasahan ba natin ang pagbaha sa kanilang mga lugar?
Well, we expect na dahil sa patuloy na mga pag-ulan dyan, so mostly saturated na yung areas nila ng yung soil moisture. So expect na natin na yung, especially yung mga nasa low-lying areas and then yung mga nasa mountainous areas, so possible yung mga flash floods and landslides due to continuous rain. So kapag ganito, ipag-coordinate na po tayo sa mga LGUs natin para mapaghandaan yung mga posibleng aksyon na pwedeng gawin in the event na dahil in-expect na rin natin na patuloy yung mga pag-ulan.
Sir Ezra, normal ba yung ganitong pangyayari at this time of the year? Kasi kung napapansin natin, over the past few weeks, maraming low pressure area and it's the same area over and over again na tinatamaan itong mga LPA na ito, mainly the Mindanao area.
From the past few years, nangyari naman talaga ito. And then mostly naman talaga nagsistart itong mga low pressure areas sa Pacific. So mostly yung eastern side ng Visayas at Mindanao. Kung mapapansin nyo dyan sa satellite image, yung eastern Visayas at then yung eastern side ng Mindanao or the whole Mindanao nakakaranas ng makulimlim na panahon. Yung kulay orange and dilaw dyan, yan po yung mga magdadala ng moderate to heavy rains, especially pag may mga thunderstorm. So ang Pag-asa naman po ay naglalabas ng thunderstorm advisory or heavy rainfall advisory in the event na makaranas tayo ng mga pag-ulan 2 hours before mangyari po ito.
Okay, maraming salamat Sir Ezra. That's Pag-asa weather forecaster Ezra Bulkari. After the reported grumblings in the military establishment, Defense Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. said he is now recommending the removal of fixed terms among armed forces of the Philippines personnel. In an ambush interview after the Department of National Defense's first flag-raising ceremony, Galvez said that the Senate had expressed support for his recommendation about the new tenure law since he assumed office. Zubiri said the upper chamber seeks to pass the bill amending Republic Act No. 11709 within the first quarter of 2023. Under the law, military officials appointed to key positions will serve a fixed term of 3 years.
We are very thankful that the Senate, headed by our Senate President, made a statement that they will support our recommendation, which is we will already remove the term fixed term. Instead, we will use the term extended tenure of service.
Next on Inquirer today, ex-cops tagged in abduction of e-sabong agent who may be state witnesses, according to the Philippine National Police. Metro Manila's COVID-19 positivity rate drops to 2.4%. Gasoline and diesel to increase nearly 3 pesos per liter starting tomorrow. This is Inquirer Today. We'll be back shortly.
Actually po, nasimula po akong mag-drawing sa board noong nagtuturo po ako sa grade 4. This year lang po, mga buwan ng May, nag-decide po ako na mag-draw sa board ko kasi gusto po kasi ng mga bata, lalong-lalo na sa elementarya, na may flash po yun o makikita nila yung drawings visually po. Nakikita po ng bata yung effort ng teacher compared po sa kung mag-print lang po tayo ng mga tarpapel at saka ididikit lang po natin sa board. Kasi po kung ikaw po na teacher, nakikita po ng bata yung effort mo, lalong-lalo na sa pagguhit diyan sa board po, mas lalo po silang magaganyak or mamomotivate po sila na mas gagalingan pa po nila. Pangarap ko po sa aking mga estudyante o mga mag-aaral, lalong-lalo na dito sa elementarya, pangarap ko po talagang mag-improve ang kanilang study behavior, lalong-lalo na di lang po sa science subject but sa lahat po ng subjects po nila. Pagbutihan po nila ang kanilang pag-aaral para darating ang panahon, sila po ay makapagtapos at makahanap din po sila ng magandang trabaho po.
The 3 dismissed police officers who recently surrendered to authorities after they were tagged in the 2021 abduction of an online cockfighting agent may qualify as state witnesses if their involvement in the case is found to only be minimal, said the Philippine National Police Chief General Rodolfo Azorin Jr. Former Staff Sergeant Daryl Paghangaan and the patrolmen Rigel Brosas and Roy Navarrete were charged with robbery, kidnapping, and serious illegal detention related to the disappearance of e-sabong master agent Ricardo Lasco. Azorin confirmed that the 3 dismissed officers are now under police custody after they surrendered to the PNP Integrity Monitoring and Enforcement Group. The PNP chief appealed for the surrendered ex-policemen to cooperate in the investigation of Lasco's disappearance. DOJ prosecutor had established that Lasco was forcibly taken from his residence by a group of armed men that claimed to be agents of the National Bureau of Investigation, saying Lasco was the subject of an arrest order for large-scale estafa or fraud. The men also reportedly took several valuables from the people who were in Lasco's house at the time. Meanwhile, in another story, the PNP will take the reins in evaluating senior police officials who will not tender their courtesy resignations in support of the government's bid to weed out of officers with links to illicit drug trade. Azorin pointed out that as of January 20, 11 of the 953 top police officials have yet to lock in their courtesy resignations and subject themselves to an evaluation by a 5-member committee and the National Police Commission. When asked if the high-ranking PNP officers who won't tender their courtesy resignations would still be checked for possible drug ties, Azorin said the PNP would definitely look into it. He added that the PNP will be the one to check if there are indicators that they had been involved in illegal drug activities during their incumbency as the third-level officers.
Siguro they are still trying to discern na magkasubmit pa ba ako, aabutan naman ako ng retirement. But to us, we also still encourage them na mag-submit lang kayo so that at least kahit papano, totally makli-clear kayo kung ano man yung kahinat na nitong evaluation and review ng individual na involvement ng lahat sa illegal drugs.
The 7-day COVID-19 positivity rate in Metro Manila has further decreased to 2.4%, according to independent pandemic monitor OCTA research. OCTA fellow Guido David said the positivity rate in the National Capital Region dropped to 2.4% on January 21 from the 3.7% on January 14. David also noted that during the same period, there was no increase in positivity rates for provinces in Luzon. He also pointed out that many provinces have a low positivity rate, which is less than 5%. The Department of Health on Sunday reported 399 fresh COVID-19 infections, bringing the total number of active cases across the country to 10,587. The pump prices of gasoline, diesel, and kerosene will increase by nearly 3 pesos per liter starting January 24. The prices of gasoline will rise by 2 pesos and 80 centavos per liter, while the prices of diesel will increase by 2 pesos and 25 centavos per liter. Kerosene prices will shoot up by 2 pesos and 40 centavos per liter. In its price monitor update on January 17, the Department of Energy said the total adjustments in 2023 stood at a net increase of 3 pesos and 10 centavos per liter for gasoline, 80 centavos per liter for kerosene, and 20 centavos per liter for diesel. Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Irvin Santiago ng Bandera. Irvin?
Hi Neil at sa lahat ng mga kabandera natin all over the universe. Ito na nga ang latest Bandera Chika. Hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa rin nagkakaayos ang magkapatid na Anjo at Jo Marie Iliana matapos silang magkaroon ng hidwaan noong kasagsagan ng kampanya para sa May 2022 elections. Nakachikahan namin si Anjo at humingi nga kami ng update sa kanya tungkol sa estado ng relasyon nila ng kanyang nakababatang kapatid dahil nga sa issue na may kaugnayan sa pera. Ayon kay Anjo, wala pa siyang balak mag-reach out kay Jo Marie para ayusin ang problema. Pero ang tanging hiling lang niya, sana raw ay si Jo Marie na ang lumapit sa kanya dahil siya naman daw ang panganay.
So lang, we haven't spoken for the last year. Hindi pa kami nag-uusap. Pero meron kami gap, meron kami hindi pagkakaunawaan. And yun, to be honest, hindi naman ako galit. Nagtampo ako, nagalit ako. But tapos na yun eh. Though, wala pa closure, wala pa nag-reach out. So, pero wala ka bang balak? Panganay ako eh. Panganay ako eh. So, kumbaga, ano naman ako, kumbaga, handa naman ako tanggapin. Handa naman ako tanggapin. Sabi ko nga, wala na yun, tapos na sa akin.
At yan ang Bandera Chika natin today. Thanks, Neil.
Maraming salamat, Irvin, and these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.